Hello, fellow Factorians, and welcome back to my Pyanodons challenge run. In the last episode, first I worked on setting up the next tier of aluminum processing, but then I couldn't actually use it because I need a lot more power available to run that thing. I also set up more tin mining and processing, and that actually did work out. I also got the excuse to add more heat exchangers, which meant that ran more efficiently, as well as my rock food production. But yeah, power was still not available all the time to run the iron processing that I wanted to run, so aluminum was definitely out. However, the extra standard throw it into a furnace processing did manage to convince my intermetallic setup to finally fill up all those caravans for the mall, and my mall delivered, and I think I've got everything I need to do what I was going to work on today. During the hands-off period, I spent the first half running around fixing my train blueprint because I still have that track off by a couple of tiles problem. So I did a lot of that. I also laid down power poles with the new medium power poles that I've got all circuited together. I got signals, so I put down signals for the intersections. I also put down future blueprints for my fueling stop, things like that. But then I realized, I really need to get to the Auog breeding that is going to be the focus of this episode. So I laid down that blueprint and got that done with hands off, blinking at me to tell me it's time to get into the real episode. I think that's also happening with this monologue I've got going. I should get into the real episode. But yeah, I laid down the blueprint for the Auog breeding, and that's what I'm going to be focusing on because it's going to generate more power for me in a slightly roundabout fashion. I'll explain what I'm doing, though, in the actual episode, so let's jump into that. As you might be able to tell, this is not my mall, not my bootstrap area. I'm going to start off this episode by doing some fixes on my Iron 3 area. Maintaining my iron mines may be just something that I do pretty much every episode because although I do have some excess capacity on iron production, it's not quite where I would love it to be. So yeah, I'm going to be fixing these pretty much continuously until I get a really good iron production, which will have to wait for logistics science. Fortunately, this iron area is big enough that I had a couple of spare lines, so I'm going to use those to kind of enhance the flow down here and find other uses for these that are kind of dying. Okay, that's a little bit better. Now I'm going to check in on the copper mine since I'm right here. I think there's a couple of blinking miners over here, so I might I'd make some minor adjustments, but at least the copper mine is running just fine at the moment. All right, now to get started with the real episode. I have at first this giant moss build over here to fill in, and fortunately my mall has created all of the moss farms that I need, so let's also cancel out the demand for moss, which is going to completely overtop my inventory, so I probably will need to go do a little bit of cleaning and picking up of the other supplies that I need. But yeah, I'll be able to get into this much quicker now that my mall is functioning correctly. All right, my inventory has all the stuff that I hope I'll need except for the moss modules themselves, but I think I've got plenty of them actually in that area from the moss that's building. I also need to add one more caravan because I was missing glass in this caravan outpost over here, and I actually have 6 items coming in on the other caravan, so one more caravan for that outpost. Unfortunately, I don't have bots yet, and I definitely do not have personal bots, so I won't be able to do this the easy way. But Blueprint Shotgun still runs really fast. And in fact, Blueprint Shotgun is probably going to be faster than bots until I get some robot work speed. So I'm going to be putting this in together. It's just another 200 moss farms. What is another 200 moss farms between friends after all? I'll be back after I've laid this down. All right, and that did go pretty smoothly for 200 buildings or so. Let's see. I need to put down some native flora collectors, although I'm not 100% sure where I want to put them down. So I'll figure that out in just a second. I guess this band is as good as any. Don't want to put in too many because I won't be making that many Auogs to start with, and I don't want the spoilage. So we'll just fill in one of these rows. Or columns. Columns, yeah. All right, I need to go get supplies for the other half of the job. Well, probably more than half of the job, as I'm going to be filling in this whole Aug breeding area. And yeah, I also need to build a few buildings, actually, because my mall can't provide something I didn't program it to. I didn't really plan on using the Auogs on a treadmill bio electricity generation system, but I'll explain why I'm doing it when I get down there. Be back soon. You can also disassemble this Aug breeding area because I won't need it anymore. So this is going to be my Aug breeding area. Augs, we've bred them before. They're pretty simple. You go to a reproductive center. You have a couple of Aug modules. You give them the standard water bottle plus native flora plus moss, and you get Aug pups. Then you send those Aug pups into an Aug paddock, and you give them more water barrels, more native flora, more moss, and the Aug pups, and you get Augs out of it. So they are one of the simpler alien life recipes. I originally thought I was going to put it out into this new octagon that I started building because it seemed like a big flat open place where I could stick a lot of alien life recipes. But then I decided against for a couple of reasons. One, that would have taken longer. Two, I had budgeted for the moss, inside the carbon dioxide and muddy sludge inside of this kind of science-based area, so I might as well put it here. And I hadn't gotten to trains yet. I do want to put these on trains because as soon as I hit logistics science and one of the recipes inside of logistics science, I will be not wanting to use these anymore. Sorry, I will want to be using them, but I won't need as many of them because there's another alien life recipe inside of it, Ulrich's, that will more efficiently provide one of the materials that I want to get for logistics science. Sorry if that's complicated. Basically, one of the reasons, like the primary reason I'm going to be butchering these is to get bones. Once you get Ulrich's, you can get the bone meal that you need from them much easier. So the bone demand will go down significantly. So I was thinking, okay, I'll put this on trains because in the future I'll need the 3 times as many Auogs that I produce here. But for now, yeah, I'm not going to put them on trains, or I will, but the train is probably not going to go very far because it's just going to be going over here. I'm going to set this up. It's going to take quite a while, especially since it turns out I didn't bring some of the stuff I need with me, although there's so much stuff that I need that that was going to be inevitable regardless. And then once I've set it up, I'll talk through more of what I'm doing with it and why I'm doing this, and etc. Hopefully it'll be interesting for you. All right, and that should kick things off. Looks like I've got things mostly built. Hopefully this is built correctly. Oops, my radar coverage doesn't quite extend far enough for me to see everywhere. But yeah, with one line of native flora, it comes in here as a full line. A lot of it gets used up by these reproductive centers. Then it gets passed off as a half belt along with some moss over here down to this middle row of Aug paddocks. And this should produce plenty to run the Aug-powered generators. I can't wait to see one of these kick on. I think the Aug just kind of runs around on this treadmill. Yeah, you can see that there's kind of a groove there for them. So the reason I'm going to be using these is because, oops, I still don't have enough undergrounds. I have to go run back and get some more. I'm going to be using these for 2 reasons. One, there are actually a pretty decent source of power. The 12 here will, if they were all running at once, make me 260 megawatts worth of power. Each of them makes 22, so 12 times 22 is 264, I think. Yeah. So that's pretty decent. And if all of these were running at once, I think I could run approximately 40 of them. Now I've got a total of 112 planned here. I may not fill in all of those, but the reason is because I'm going to actually depend on them running because I want the product from them. So they will produce, let me look them up. They produce tired Augs. These Augs are out of gas, and you can butcher a tired Aug. Just like you can butcher the regular Aug. And you get the same number of bones for butchering a tired Aug as you do for the regular Aug. Where's the Aug? Okay, well, I can't see where the Aug butchery is. But basically, you get the same number of bones, but you get less meat, no lard, I think less blood, something like that. Which is great for me because that means less byproducts to deal with. So overall, it saves me from having to deal with some viscera that I would otherwise have to find something to do with. Of course, I'm still going to have to deal with some viscera, but it'll just be less. And that's one of the ways that I'm going to be focusing on improving my UPS or keeping it consistent during this playthrough. I'm going to be focusing on finding ways to lower the amount of items that I push through my logistics, any kind of logistic system that I've got going. So whether it is butchering Augs or putting things onto trains, I'm going to be looking for ways to economize on inserter swings primarily. Inserter swings are the things that cost me the most UPS. I think out of my total time slice, inserter swings are like 40+% of the total amount of time that the game processes each tick. So anything I can do to lower inserter swings, that's the first thing. Then there's other stuff, like, for instance, you'll notice that my basic loading stop, this is going to be a loading stop for the regular Auogs. I'm going to need some of those too because I need the lard, but it has no splitters. And anytime I can save on not using splitters, that's just one less thing for the game to process. So when you have like a low demand item that the Auogs are going to come in a trickle here, it's okay that the train gets unloaded unevenly for me. That means that, like you'd save on the splitter, the first train car gets these first 3 inserters, and then if there's more than that, if I'm running faster than 3 per second, I'm not in this case, but this is just kind of like a copied design, then it runs over to here, and then these kind of load evenly, and then it swings back over, loads the back car more with these next 3, and then finally the front car gets the last 3 running through. And in most cases, that's an even enough split that I don't have to worry about how I manage my train loading. Here, I'm going to be buffering up the tired Auogs, and this is one of the few times that I am going to use buffer chests for a train station. I'm not using them because I want to buffer the items for delivery like you normally might. Instead, I want to buffer them as a supply that tells me how many tired Auogs I've run through my system. So, for instance, if I have too many here, I'm going to need to turn on more electricity generation when I have power plants. But if I have too few, and this is the real concern, if I have too few, I'm going to have to turn down my electricity generation. That's also why I've overbuilt the number of generators I need. By overbuilding the number of generators, let's say I have 10 gigawatts of potential production and 5 gigawatts of demand. If I overbuild the number of generators by double, I will still be able to run all the Auogs that I want to tire out, even in that circumstance. So it makes it the power generation problem easier to manage, although it's still going to be a fun problem to manage, and I kind of like those challenges. Also, I'm not going to use buffer chests in general because it requires extra inserter swings. Like instead of just directly inserting into the train, you've got an extra inserter swing to go into the chest first. Instead, just like Simon, my mentor / competitor, I don't know, does, I'm going to be using the trains themselves to buffer the items, and therefore, it's just from the machine onto a belt, onto the train, off of the train onto another belt, and back into whatever machine system they need. So that's one less inserter swing. Although still, your using trains adds overhead, because otherwise you just be going machine to belt to other machine, versus the overhead of the train system and the overhead of the loading the trains. But the train system gives you so many benefits that often it's going to be worthwhile, and it'll be interesting to balance using the trains versus avoiding using the trains. Anyway, that was a long spiel. I'm going to go collect some more undergrounds to finish off this build. Also, I need to set up the actual power management that I want to do right now. So I think I'm going to do that first. I'm going to run off and adjust how my power combinators work. I had that kind of like binary on-off wind sensor, but now I'm going to switch it to something that's a little bit more granular, because I have multiple things that I'm going to want to turn on and turn off based off of what the power reserve is at. While I'm here, I also want to do one quick tweak. That's because I can actually get more iron than I need on or just this belt out of these casting units. So in that case, I'd like to feed this line as well. So that fixes that. Okay, now I'm going to run down to where I'm measuring my geothermal power and adjust the combinators there. Okay, all I'm doing here is I'm subtracting 15,000 from the total tank capacity, putting it onto a virtual signal, then I'm dividing that virtual signal by 120. So the my 0 to 100% is 15K to 27K of this tank. Now I have to adjust all the places that we're checking that wind sensor. So yeah, let me go do that. Okay, that one's done. I could have done that one through the map view, but there's other places where I want to just remove the pump and control system entirely. So that's why I'm running around. Okay, now this iron system is going to run. I also do need to run down here because I'm missing a pipe. So even more running about. I thought I was going to be able to fix this one just from the map. But while I'm at it, I can also grab the undergrounds that I need to finish off my Auog setup. Also, I want to grab some of these cotton studs. These boxes have filled up, and I'm just going to load up a bunch of them into the buildings that need them. So I think I need something like 2,000 of them. All right, and these two should start going as soon as the power gets low enough, although I guess I need some more mechanical inserters. Fortunately, I can just build a few here. Only these front ones actually need them. Because, yeah, I have this set to run at less than 20. Yeah, okay, that should be fine. Just for fun, we're going to stick in one to see it animate. Oh, he makes a cool noise, too. That's awesome. I love the Pydevs and some of the art and sound that they've done. The spark as well, that's pretty neat. Making some kind of, like, I don't know, grunting noise. That's pretty cool. Okay. So, yeah, I'll check that this is operating. I should be getting... did I not hook up something? No, these are being made. Okay, it's just getting started at the front. So I'll have to check in on that later to make sure that it's running as expected. But now let me go off and do something else and then come back and verify later. Okay, filled in a bunch of cotton gut modules as well as some moondrop modules, and now let's take a look. Yep, my Auog power generations are starting to run. That's pretty great. Hopefully more of them will be able to run soon. Yeah, it looks like more of these are kicking on, but not all of them. Lack of native flora. Coming through, it might just need to still load up. Yeah, it looks like these are taking up all of it at the front. I have measured this out correctly in YAFC. Okay, I'm going to assume that's going to continue to work. I'm at least getting like 7 or 8 of these working. That's another 160 megawatts. So I think I can now go and turn on my aluminum build. So I'm going to go work on that. I need to run a coke line over to it and also set up how it turns itself on and off with power. So, and that will be the major tasks of this episode done. Then I'll just check my task list and see where we're at. Okay, and now I just need some borax delivered, and this should be running. I set up a little bit of power monitoring here. And now I should be able to get some aluminum, which incidentally will save me power in some ways, although it's still a very expensive process. But it'll mean that I use up less coal gas for aluminum mining, and that just means more of it can be turned into syngas. Okay, I think I want to go check on the other end of where I make aluminum, because I'd like to still allow the aluminum that comes in through the furnaces to run, but not but prioritize using the aluminum that is from the casting unit. Okay, and it should already do that. All right, cool. I've got most of what I wanted to do done during this session, and not too far over. The fact that the mall has done its work really helped out a lot. I'll have to program this mall for what I want next time. Let me think about that for just a second and look at my task list. Fixing missing pipe in Iron 4, I did that. I had the cotton gut and moondrop modules. I haven't done this. I'm not going to do it this time. I think everything else. Aug production I've done, but haven't done the Aug slaughtering yet. And that's going to be its own challenge. Let me think about what I want to throw into my mall to make for next time. I think we're going to be very train focused finally, although I won't guarantee that because I really want advanced combinators for that as well. Have a special plan in mind, let's say. Maybe hope. Oh, that's going to be expensive. All right. Well, I still want to do it, so we'll have to see what I end up doing for the next episode. Let me program in some stuff here. Okay. I figured out what I wanted, which is a lot more moss farms. I think I'm going to be working on a giant train-based tree build. And even if I don't work on that, I will need them in the future, so I'll get my mall going and chewing through that. There is one more thing I can work on, because I do want a longer research time, so I'm going to fill in this little bit up here. This bit is meant to make the glassware that I'll need for the plasmid build up here. So I need the glassware. I'm also going to be passing up the laboratory instruments on a belt. So yeah, let me work on that and be right back. Right, I just need to figure out what to do with ash from these assemblers, and this should be all set up, and make sure my acetylene line is connected to my glass furnace. Glass furnace? No, glassworks. But yeah, then this should create glassware. I also need a delivery of latex from a caravan. And yeah, the laboratory equipment is already coming in, so let me just sort out what to do with ash. And I will be right back, as usual. Seems like it's my catchphrase. Be right back, again. Okay, and that should be ash sorted out. So great. Yeah, this should provide me enough glassware for this plasmid build, and which I'm still not turning on because I don't need them until I get the next steps of logistics science, the actual research going. So I'm feeling pretty good. Let's double check my build down here. Is it all running? It is not all running. Some of it is running. May need to figure out what's going on here. Okay, yeah, I've got a barrel problem somehow. Oh, okay, I know what's going on here. Yeah, I'll fix that. Be back soon. All right, and that fixes the issue that I created by not filtering one of these long-handled inserters correctly. All right, let me check in on other issues that I might want to tackle. I would like to stretch this episode out a little bit longer because, yeah, I would like to get that advanced combinator tech. And I think I need at least 3 hours of hands-off time plus to finish off construction bots. So yeah, let's fix that up. Also, I spotted that I needed to fix this because I wasn't filling these chests over there, and that would have been bad. Might actually want to build a few more of these Auog power generators. Anyway, let's see. Fix that. Let's look at my aluminum. Not running right now, and it shouldn't be running, but I shouldn't have this powdered aluminum on the belt. So I'm going to go fix that. Okay. Yeah, it was another another inserter filtering problem. Okay, I'm going to go check in on my power because I should have a lot more power generation and not running this yet, so something must be up. Let me dig into it. Yeah, it looks like I could use some more steam engines and potentially some more syngas production because I have an excess of coal gas right now. So I'm going to do both of those things, and that'll give me at least another 10 minutes or so of something to tackle. All right, and that's about as many steam engines as I can stuff into this area because I noticed that my oil burners some of them were still clogged, even though they were pushing steam down to all of the steam generators. So that should help out, basically take more load off of the geothermal so the geothermal can catch up. All right, now I'm going to add a few more gasifiers, and I'll be right back after I've done that. These are still clogging, so maybe I need to find a place to stuff even more steam engines. Yeah, and that's a few more gasifiers, so I guess the last thing I'm going to do is find a place to put more steam engines. Also, I want to add more quests down here, because I really should build a few locomotives as well, and train cars. All right, it looks like these are capable of burning up all their fuel, as much fuel as I can provide them, because I saw them running acetylene for a bit, which is grand. And I've definitely stretched the episode quite a bit. So, next time, I'm hoping to get to some train stuff. We'll see how the research pans out. But thank you so much for joining me. Hopefully it was entertaining. I will see you next time after I engage hands off, not reciting the science alert, hands off mode. There we go. See you next time.